welcome back to Noise Pollution. Today we're going to be looking at um, I don't know. My take on it is an average man's take on these new superhero movies. Um, well, it's not quite your average man. We'll get into it. Former wrestling promoter, manager, and modern day podcast sensation Jim Cornette isn't sold on either Superman or the Fantastic Four first steps. Dunks on female Silver Surfer. No surprise there. Like I said, you might could say this is the average man's take, and the average man is like, what? Why? Which,
Yeah.
uh, you know, there's a video here, and I'll have him say it in his own words in this interview. But first, I'll read the build up to that. Cornette and his co-host Brian Last discussed WWE, AEW, and wrestling history on the Jim Cornette Experience and its sister program, Cornette's Drive-Thru. Before he got his start in the business that became his life, and as a ringside photographer, the mouthpiece for the Midnight Express, grew up a comic fan. He was stereotypical Silver Surfer reader who preferred Marvel over DC because the former was edgy, mature, and more intelligent for its time. Now, I started out in comics late 70s, early 80s, and I started in DC. But then I went to Marvel because Marvel acted like it wanted to explain the science or pseudoscience, if you will. While DC just didn't care. They were doing more like, Dragon Ball Z does now. They fart and blow away a universe and a dimension,
Yeah.
beat up God or whatever. Well, Marvel was kind of like, no, here's some soft science behind it, and I was more naturally drawn to Marvel. At first, it was DC, but then Marvel all the way.
Well,
I even went to my favorite character being the Hulk because he was a tormented soul, and often it was a very dark story, and I was just naturally drawn to that.
I know when I was a kid, I'd read comics and stuff, and I had a lot of comics. And like you, first I started out reading the DC comics, the Batman comics, and stuff like that. But then I stumbled upon the X Men comics, and I loved the X
Okay,
Men.
X-Men and those days were great. The art was great. The writing was great. But around which period? I
Um,
mean,
it was
yeah,
it was the early '80s,
okay.
late
But do you
'70s,
do you know
early '80s.
what arcs in the comic you might have read?
I read now I know this came a little bit later, but I read the Dark Phoenix saga,
The
and
Dark
then
Phoenix saga actually came earlier, unless I'm mistaken. I'd have to look it up. But the
it's
original, you might have
been,
read a reprint of it.
yeah, I think that's what it was. It was a reprint,
But
but
yeah, the art in that was great. The storyline was great. It was they're not just, oh, let's throw on some costumes and fight. It was their personal lives too.
mm, and I remember when I was real small, before I could read, my mother would read the Conan comics to me.
Back then, unless I'm mistaken, depends on what time frame. The Conan comics, well, when I knew about them, they were magazines. They
Hmm.
were what, I don't know if you would classify them as a magazine or a comic, but they were sides of magazines and had a great illustrated cover and then black and white pages.
Yeah, it was black and white.
Yeah,
So,
I had some of those, but they were kind of dry. When it just came off dry to me.
hmm but the Marvel comics I read was really I was sucked into Marvel. My favorite character out of the X Men was Storm, and then I liked the not so popular characters of the X Men.
Yeah, well, I liked Wolverine before anybody knew who the hell he was.
My favorite out of that was also was Sabretooth. I liked Sabretooth
Yeah,
better.
which I uh I had friends who were heavily into comics, and they talked to the writers from back then, and their initial plans was to make Sabretooth Wolverine's father, and of course by blood. Apparently, they changed those plans and went with a worse off story.
Yeah.
It's getting to the words by this I don't know wrestling photographer, does his own podcast. I don't know what to call him. I'm just call him average man.
Jim, our next question was sent to cornydrivethrough@gmail.com from Brian. If you could choose only one of these movies, which would you choose and why? And these are the upcoming releases of the Fantastic Four and Superman.
You know, I think I would like to. I've always wanted to see a really good Fantastic Four movie because they were my first favorite superheroes. When I started collecting comic books in 1968 in the Marvel universe, the Fantastic Four was they were the Rock, they were the Stone Cold, they were the main event deal, and Spider-Man was secondary. And then you got to Hulk and Thor and Captain America, etc. But the Fantastic Four was the thing, and no pun intended.
I just
And
want to
they've done nothing. Well, there's been 8.
Finally, it's pause. Just want to add a side note. I do recall the Doom Patrol came out before the X-Men. I think it was the Doom Patrol anyway, and it was the X-Men that was made to kind of counteract that because, of course, Marvel and DC were competing. Which the Doom Patrol at one time had a deep, emotional story, action packed to it. Anyway,
18 million Spider-Man movies and all that other stuff. So I think I would rather see the Fantastic Four because again, Superman has been done to death, and the more modern it gets, the more Superman looks like an AEW fucking wrestler. And I'm not fucking impressed.
Well, what they tried to do with the Superman movie, and I'm going to go see it with the kids, is they tried to make it faithful to the comics more than anything else that's been done in a very, very long time, if not ever, really. Because if you think about it, the Superman TV show is kind of based off the Superman cartoon that the Fleischers did more than the comics even.
Well, but in the TV show, Christopher Reeve, for fuck's sake. I want to see a goddamn jacked up Stallone, Schwarzenegger. Somebody needs to be Superman, not these goddamn milksops.
What do you think about the Fantastic Four? And again, they've tried to do this a few times. Now they're pulling it into the...
I don't know if I agree with that you want to see somebody like Stallone, do Superman or Schwarzenegger. I don't know about that.
No.
I mean, they would think what kind of Clark Kent they'd make.
Well, I think he's wrong on the Christopher Reeve movie, Superman movie. I think he's wrong.
Well, no, okay. I don't think Christopher Reeves was the best person for the part, but he made that role so damn iconic it didn't matter.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's an icon. He was
the only one that come close is that last one that played him, Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
Now, but with that being said, I don't think the acting came through with it. He looked the part. The acting didn't come across like Superman, in my opinion.
I think what it is for me about the Christopher Reeve Superman movie, it's just nostalgia. It's this unrelenting nostalgic awe of when you first seen the blue and all of that coming on. I try
to tell younger people that, people that grew up on the Henry Cavill Superman, and they don't understand. They're gonna be like, yeah, I know that old 70s movie, the Superman. There was 3 of them, I think, but they don't understand because this was when there was virtually no hero movies out there, and it was Superman come to life in a very quality kind of way.
Yeah, I mean, if you could erase all the Superman movies accept that one and then show that one without people knowing the modern versions, maybe the younger people would understand what we're talking about, because
That
back then those effects weren't those
that
were new things they were
that
doing.
that reminds me of my kids when they were little and they seen the CGI Hulk and they're like, wow, I like that, and I'm like, okay, check out this 1970s Hulk, and they're like, that looks so fake and fake. No, that's a real man with real muscles. What are you talking about? I see
It's a
him flip a car. He can really flip a car.
it's a real human being. What's the matter with you?
Kind of like, I showed them He-Man. They're like, why is he in his underwear?
Yeah. It's like you're missing the point. This is a person. This is a human being.
Okay, I'm
This
going to
is not
continue.
CGI.
Going to
Yeah.
continue with this.
Marvel Cinematic Universe. What do you think of a female Silver Surfer?
What?
The Silver Surfer in the movie is a female.
Oh, Christ on a cracker. No.
Right?
I mean, the Silver Surfer isn't a fucking.
Because then
This is not being.
I actually said this to someone and they said, well, Silver Surfer was a female at one point. I'm like, yeah, well, look, everyone apparently at some point in the comics became either a male or a female or changed gender or race or something.
I've never heard of that. The Silver Surfer to me has always been that silver bald headed dude. And it's not being misogynistic or sexist. Just no, I don't want little orphan Annie to be little orphan fucking Dick. I don't.
What an example to use. Yes, I agree.
Well,
Yes.
I mean, just leave the shit the way it is when it gets over. Don't fuck with it. It'll all hinge on how they do the thing, though. They can make people burst into flame and stretch and become invisible, but how good's the thing gonna look? He's my guy anyway. Ben Grimm.
Well, apparently it's actually a timepiece too. It like takes place, whatever, 62, 63 when the first comic and the series first launched. So I'm interested to see how it looks. But yeah, the Silver Surfer, I'm sorry. And then someone argued to me the other day. They said, well, this is just one dimension. This is just one universe. All the different universes are going to meld up and there'll be a male Silver Surfer there. Like,
no, goddamn! I'm just worried about the dimension I'm in. If I'm in it, I want my Silver Surfer to be a male. Let the other dimension people worry about their fucking movies. And what are they going to do about Wonder Woman? Here come Wonder Willie? How are you going to change that around?
I don't know if there'll be Wonder Willie, but that's apparently a popular film for rent right now. But Jim, I guess you're picking Fantastic Four over Superman.
Well, when you take someone who hasn't grown up on propaganda, that's the way they're going to look at it, just like we look at it.
Yeah.
That's the way we look at it. Like,
Well,
a female Silver Surfer. What?
that's what I said.
No, just no. And they're like, you're a misogynist. No, you can have your Wonder Woman movie and nobody's demanding, that Wonder Woman have a floppy.
Okay, but he has a good damn point. They're changing the Silver Surfer to make the Silver Surfer a woman. Why don't they change Wonder Woman to make him Wonder Man?
I watched, I think, what was it, 2 Wonder Woman movies. Just, I don't care if it's a woman in it that's going around beating ass and saving the day. I don't care. If it's a good movie, I'll say it's a good movie. And those were, there were movies. It was something to pass the time. But I didn't go look at it and go, ew, they should have put a man in it. I didn't do that.
Well, these days, the LGBT
point is,
community will say it.
Yeah, that community and everybody trying to bow down to them. They're like, we must get rid of the men. We must have the woman save the day. And here on the other end of the spectrum, we're not doing the same. We're like, can't we all just be normal? Can't we drop this virtue signaling? identity politics. Can't we just drop that and just live like we once did? They're like, no, not only are we taking over, but you can't be in it. You can't have nothing to do with it. And we're not demanding the same. This is not equal ground. This is they're demanding everything. We're going, can't we just get back to normalcy?
Well, I mean, when I heard that they were going to make the Silver Surfer a female, that was my reaction to that. It's like, what? No, they can't do that.
Could
What?
you imagine the silver period going through space?
Oh God.
Okay, look. Before we get too silly, I think we'll end this one here. Now, I just, that what I just played, I look at that as the average man's take on modern hero movies. Leave your thoughts and comments later.